Aw, man, don't tell me the Leafs lost to Vegas. Well, dude, I mean, everyone loses to Vegas. I know, but just the idea that they lost to an expansion team. True, but they've been doing that since 1967. My New Year's resolution is to go back to 6 teams. Hi! Leafs Nation, stand witness for Austin Lucas! Full biblical! Austin Matthews is the Leaf! Why do I watch hockey stressfully? Mostly. Leafs! No! Oh, no. Did you think I was going to do this? No. Oh, they got killed. 6-3 by the Vegas Golden Knights. But hey, I tell you what. On the season, the Leafs have taken 2 out of 4 possible points against the Vegas Golden Knights, which is more than most Eastern teams can say. Sorry, did I say most Eastern teams? I meant most teams! Forget the Leafs for a sec. I have been holding on to this rant, and I plan on doing a bigger version of it at some point. Question of the game. Why aren't you specifically, behind the screen that I'm talking to, why aren't you currently trying to become an NHL general manager? 1, they get to watch hockey for a living. That's dope. 2, they make a lot of money. Do you want that? I think you do. 3, you don't even gotta be that smart. I would like to specify that I am, of course, not referring to Lou Lamoriello. He's very smart. But every one of the NHL's 30 teams last season knew Vegas was coming. They had to put together their own protected list, which might as well have been called the Make Vegas Crappy List. That is a long-standing tradition throughout generations. Our forefathers and their forefathers before them. That expansion teams get to take your garbage and then they get to be garbage. And teams from around the league were just like, here's a pretty good guy. Here's some guy we had as like a minors fringe 4th liner for a while. Hey, how you doing? It's Boston. Are you interested in a goalie who we picked in the 1st round and spent lots of years and money developing for free on waivers? 4 groups of people deserve credit for the Vegas Golden Knights' success. 1, the players. They do the playing. Good for them. 2, the management group, because they assembled this super team of misfits. They're claiming Derek Engelland, despite the fact that he's a pending free agent and Derek Engelland. It's a bold move, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off. It is! 3, the fans, because they have been spectacular and this game just showed that. And 4, all the other GMs. Both Marchessault and Riley Smith. Really? I made a video this past week talking about Vegas as a contender. They are! Look at them! Well, the road record's not very good, although their home record is the best one in the league. If the playoffs started today, they would have home ice advantage for the first 3 rounds, and then if Tampa doesn't make it, the 4th. But if Vegas randomly decided, you know what, we're not loaded up enough for this run, they have over $8 million in cap space and 28 draft picks over the next 3 seasons. 10 of them are in the first 2 rounds. Why do you think Vegas is for real? Why don't you? Remember when I said I was going to make this rant bigger at some point? Well, that might have been it. Vegas is extremely talented, has crazy offensive power, and are explosive when it comes to speed, and that really burned the Leafs in this one. That being said, 3 games and 4 nights for the Leafs. Very long road trip, a lot of road games this month. Okay, we'll give them that. But the first 3 goals, oh my goodness. First goal, Jake goes after the puck. Martin Marincin follows his guy, who's got the front. The forwards don't notice what happened quick enough. Belmar scores 1-0 Vegas early. Less than 2 minutes later, Vegas has a 2-on-1 rush, and Karlsson scores. William Karlsson, that is. 2-0 Vegas. Still early. Would that have been a full 2-on-1 rush had Connor Brown not fallen down? I'm not sure. I want to jump on Polak for the pinch, but last game he did that and scored. But generally speaking, don't! And then before the first is done, Eric Hall a snipe on Freddie. I don't know if that went in off Hainsey or not. 3-0 Vegas after 1. Can the Leafs come back and win this game? What are the Vegas odds on that? 1 goal against for each one of the Leafs defense pairings in 1 period. Second period, relatively early on. The Leafs getting pucks in down low. They're getting opportunities. Komarov looking nice down low. Gives it to Brown. Gives it to Marleau. Amazing goal. Leafs are finally on the board. I think I might have said this before, but when they made the Marleau signing, I'm like, do they need him? And now with all the games that Matthews has missed this season, all the games where Babcock just decided, I don't like Dominic Moore anymore, and now with Kadri out, what would the Leafs have done without Marleau? Oh, they just could have played Nylander at center full time, you might say. Oh, you're still young and have dreams? No, I can't end the year that way. I won't crush them. But at very least, Leafs are on the board, and there's plenty of time left for them to at least score 2 goals. Now, you never like to start a sentence this way, but I have to. Martin Marincin has the puck. Bats it off the ref. It's loose behind the net. Marchessault in front to William Karlsson. He scores the second of the game. 3-goal lead restored. Now, I saw a lot of people call that bad luck or a bad bounce or whatever. And you know what? At first, I was annoyed with the ref because that was at least the second, or I could have argued the third time, that a ref had interfered with the Leafs. I'm not talking blown calls. I'm talking get out of my way. But go watch the replay. Marincin is looking at him. I freak out about when the ref gets in the way, but I'm going to use a line that is often thrown at me in the Twitterverse. Hey, if it goes off the ref, it's still in play. They're allowed to be hit with the puck. If you're not looking when you make the pass and it hits them, well, shame on you. You should have been looking. If you are looking, why'd you hit him? Look, a few days ago I said I was willing to give Marty Marincin a chance, and I still am, okay? Like, that's a fine 7th guy, which he basically, no, he's the 8th. And he's like the 8th with an asterisk. He's the 8th because Zaitsev is out and they need a penalty killer. And he can at very least do that pretty well. One thing that's very annoying talking about Martin Marincin, there are people out there that cannot acknowledge his faults, and that's what it used to be with him. Now the pendulum has swung completely the other direction, and now people can't even admit the things he does well. Marty Marincin away from the puck when the other team has the puck, provided he didn't give it to them, is fine. But he handles the thing like it's a bottle of nitroglycerin. Now I must hurry up. Less than a minute to go. Austin Matthews comes in, snipes Austin Matthews style, Leafs within 2. Get hyped! Throughout Austin Matthews' very young career, some of the biggest goal celebrations he's had have been while the Leafs are down. I think back to Game 4 against the Caps in last year's first round. This guy's captain material for a ton of reasons, but one, I think he loves the role of putting the team on his back. Less than 30 seconds into the third, loose puck in front, bats it in, Matthews again, Leafs within 1! Leafs chugga with all the momentum in the world, here we go! But Gerard Gallant just completely making it up as he goes, reviews that call. It was not goalie interference, even with the Hyman little accidental shove. But with the big end of the second and the huge start to the third, at very least he's getting rid of the Leafs' momentum. You could say he loses his timeout, and that's no good, but you could also say, haha, I'm in second place, I think we'll be fine. The 5th Vegas goal was a disgrace. And even more concerning, yeah, it was against the Borgman-Polak pairing, but it was against the Leafs' shutdown line. Or, well, I guess the makeshift one without Kadri out. It was Marleau, Komarov, and Brown. 3 Leafs' most defensively sound forwards. Shea Theodore with a great rush to get into the Leafs' end, granted, but all 5 Leafs are looking at him. He's near the goal line, still all 5 looking at him. It's not until after the pass is completed to William Karlsson that people go, oh, you're the guy who already has 2 goals in this game. You seem important. I'm gonna look at you. He dishes it to Jonathan Marchessault, and hey, there's a 2-goal lead again. William Karlsson would end up getting the empty netter. Vegas! It was actually a hell of an empty netter. And wouldn't you know it, a first against the Leafs. The first Vegas Golden Knights hat trick ever. Franchise history is made by William Karlsson against the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Leafs are in the Eastern Conference. They're in the Atlantic Division. They only have to play Vegas twice this season. Do you know what the odds are that this would have happened against them? The answer is, of course, 100% because it's the Leafs. So that's it. Look, I got my yelly bit out of the way. That made me angry. But let me say one more thing and then I want to end the year positive, okay? One, some things were written recently. I think Travis Yost wrote something about how the Leafs can get by and even, I think, contend with their current D-core. And I assume he means when Zaitsev's healthy. Boy, I don't know, man. Help is on the way. I'm excited about Travis Dermott, Timothy Liljegren. Holy smokes, and the World Junior's looking good. But as of right now, I don't know. Vegas Golden Knights fans, this one's neat. If I were you, I'd be losing my mind. Because for real, what is it like to be currently experiencing a Disney movie? You're an expansion franchise in a place where there shouldn't be people, let alone hockey. More goalies than I knew existed got injured on your team this year, and you're still second place in the NHL and just recently beat the first place Tampa Bay Lightning, which, by the way, is the Leafs' next opponent. Hooray! Then there's the carnival of the trade deadline coming up with all those expiring deals, but you're also a contender, but you got all those picks as well. I mean, I don't know. I guess I would say continue enjoying being one of the best stories in all of sport. That's what I would do if I were you. Now, I want to end 2017 answering some of your questions in an LFR. I feel like I should do this more. I got a lot of ones like this one from Rick Calder. WTF is Babcock doing with the lines? Polak and Marincin together, the two slowest D in our organization playing against one of the fastest teams. Why was Marner sitting for Brown when we're down 2? Why is Komarov ever on the power play? Shall I go on? You could have. You know, it's funny. Last year, Babcock just picked his lines and he stuck with them. Like, painfully stuck with them. And what was hilarious is the Leafs were one of the healthiest teams like ever, so they just kept them together always, no matter what. And I think part of what the Leafs' strength was last year was they had this immediate chemistry. You know, they just built and got better as the season went on. Now I wonder if he's over-coaching, or maybe not over-coaching, but over-juggling. On one hand, he's got all these weapons. Maybe he should be doing something with them, playing with them a bit. I think prior to the injury, maybe the Leafs were leaning too hard on Zaitsev, and that's why they're struggling a bit now. The way I see it, at least based on the way Babcock coaches, the Leafs lack two things. One, a great all-around defender that they genuinely trust on the penalty kill. Zaitsev kills a lot of penalties, but he's not that. Ron Hainsey kills more penalties than that, but he's ancient. Riley is the closest thing the Leafs have to that. Gardner kills him sometimes. Polak kills him. And Connor Carrick is not even allowed to make eye contact with the penalty kill. And the second, to your Komarov point, the Leafs lack a guy who can do what JVR does, with the exception of JVR. They want an obnoxious body in front. And while JVR actually gets the tip-in, bang-in goals, Komarov has been getting what I call Daryl Boyce assists this season, where he didn't actually touch the puck, but he was a nuisance in front, and that actually helped lead to a goal. To that, however, I would say surely there's someone else on the roster who's able to do that. You should at least give him a shot. I wouldn't mind seeing Josh Levo getting an extended look in that role, to be honest. Jake, who has a Boston Bruins avatar. Yeah, how's this look? And then he posts the standings that I can't help but notice the Bruins are higher than the Leafs in. Well, Jake! Oh, it's a different Jake. Jake, how does that look? Oh, well, the Leafs don't have to play Tampa, so that's cool. Currently, they won't have to play a Metro team either, so that's nice. No, instead, they get to play a team who, whether they're at home or on the road, they've dominated over the past 2 seasons. Yes, the Bruins are finally healthy. Yes, the Bruins have been hot, but Tuukka Rask is not going to stop 95% of the shots he faces forever. It's hard to make the playoffs in the NHL. All the playoff teams are good. I like the Leafs against the Bruins, and given the way they play sometimes, the Bruins should like the Leafs. Fans should like this series, for a variety of reasons, obviously. I'm excited for it. I just hope it stays this way. Except I want the Leafs to leapfrog them. What do you think about all those that still think Vegas is not a good hockey team? Yes, some still exist. Look, don't be too hard on them, because you're getting specific here. You're talking about people who won't acknowledge that Vegas is a good hockey team. I'm still having trouble acknowledging that Vegas is a hockey team. I look at the standings and I see them. I watch all the highlights and I see them. I see them in their jerseys. I see them playing. I see them with players who I recognize. And I'm still like, huh. When it comes to expansion teams, your eyes don't have to adjust as much as your brain. My eyes are like, hey, look, there's Vegas. And my brain is still like, yeah, they don't have a team. You're playing video games right now. So if Vegas keeps playing this way, I think people will come around. Will you add this team is running my life? Ha! Someone made a spelling mistake. I'm not the only one. But no, I deleted the master thing that I was editing on to make that intro, so it would be difficult to add it. But don't you worry, if I ever feel like the Leafs are ruining my life, I will let you know. That's what this channel is for. Which goal of this year was your favorite / can't forget? The Matthews goal that got the Leafs on the board in Game 3. I should just say every goal from Game 3 because I was there and that game was bonkers. Because here's the sequence of events, okay? The Capitals scored 2 early, the Leafs are in trouble. Then during commercial break, they show Dart Guy on the screen at the ACC and people go nuts. Like 1 or 2 shifts later, Kadri, whoa! Komarov, whoa! Kadri, whoa! Matthew jumps over the boards, snipe! And that is the loudest I think I've heard that building. Except for the Leafs' 4th goal, which was the overtime winner. That was bananas too. God, the Matthews goal from Game 6. I will go with what I think was the Leafs' most underrated goal of the year. I don't know if this happened in 2017 or not, but Mitch Marner's goal against, I'm so sorry, James Reimer. He dipsy dude, holy video game 99 skill craziness on him. Wait, no, I know the answer. Connor Brown getting the game winner against Pittsburgh. That game last season featured some of my favorite hockey games of all time. And what Leaf fan right now that you're hanging out with cannot give you a blow-for-blow recollection of that entire night? That was truly special. And funny enough, I think it was at Game 3, some, little lady walks up to me and she just goes, "Are you Dangle?" And I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of drunk. And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Oh, I'm Ann Brown. I'm Connor's mom." And what I said out loud was, "Oh, it's nice to meet you." And what I said in my head is, "What is life? Tell your son he's a legend and a screaming beacon of hope for all of Leafs Nation." But instead, I just calmly shook her hand and went back to my seat. How deep can we go with this D? You said it like that on purpose. Why does Babcock like Marinson? Explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. Well, you asked for it. He doesn't. He was just in the minors for a few months. I need to be less condescending to 5-year-olds. How can you hate Gary Bettman? Without him, there would be no Coyotes, and with no Coyotes, no Austin Matthews. How can I put this? I don't like pee that much. If someone were to pee on my leg, I wouldn't like it. I'd probably ask the person peeing on my leg to stop. But if my leg had just been stung by a stingray, I wouldn't mind the pee on the leg too much. So sometimes getting pee on your leg is good for you, but I hope that answers your question. This wasn't even a response to the question tweet, but I just gotta read it. Whenever a team beats the Leafs, stop. That team immediately becomes the best team in the world, obviously. Leafs fans rule, never change. Hey, did someone lose an Oilers fan? You don't even follow me. How did you find this tweet? The media talked about the Leafs too much. If the media talked about the Leafs as much as fans of the other 6 Canadian teams talk about the Leafs would never be off your TV, but honestly, I think deep down, you rule. Please change. What was the best dumb Leafs rumor of 2017? The Leafs trading Nylander to anybody for anyone. How long until Babcock sends Gardner to the press box for a few games? Yeah, I see this a lot. It's not gonna happen, guys. I went through this last video. Yes, Gardner is sometimes horrendous in his own end, but the guy I think is like close to 20 points. He'd be leading a lot of teams amongst defenders in scoring, and among some of the other teams in the East, he'd be one of their top 4 or 5 scorers. He's one of those guys where you got to take the bad with the good, but at very least there's the good. If you can make a trade to improve the Leafs lineup, what would that trade be? Not fantasy, both teams would have to have deals that make sense. People want Doughty and Carlson and OEL, and that's obviously not going to happen unless it's through free agency. People have been talking about Chris Tanev. I really don't think that's going to be good for the Leafs. I think it's going to be way too expensive. Mike Green could be an option as the season goes on, but I'm really not sure. A guy I would look at, he's cheap, he's big, he's a right-handed shot, he's on an expiring deal. Maybe Alex Petrovic from the Florida Panthers. Not sure what you offer him though. So that is it for LFR videos in 2017. Depending on who you ask, it was either a good year or a really bad one. But the great thing about 2018 is you got a clean slate. In 2017 saw the Leafs make the playoffs, which was a damned miracle. And it seemed to be the continuation of a campaign that got a generation of Leaf fans to fall back in love with this team, or in love with them for the first time. Let's keep the party going in 2018. So that is it for this year. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends, and Happy New Year. Have a safe one.